of the Cultural Arts Commission. It is January 28th, 2026, at 415 Diamond Street, Redondo Beach, in the City Council chambers. I'd like to call the meeting to order. May I have a roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Gold.
Here.
Commissioner Lawrence. Commissioner Melendez.
Here.
Commissioner Pitzley.
Here.
Commissioner Tanner.
Here.
Vice Chair Christian Kelly.
Here.
Chair O'Brien Herrera.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. This time I'd like to salute the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we'd like to approve the order of agenda. Is there a motion to approve the order of agenda as is?
I approve. Okay, first? I'll second.
Okay. Commissioner Pitzel motions and Christian Kelly seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Nice.
Okay. Next is our blue folder items. Are there any blue folder items for today?
There are no blue folder items.
I hear an echo. Thank you.
Okay, we have the consent calendar. Business items, except those formally noticed for public hearing or discussion, are assigned to the consent calendar. The commission members may request that any consent calendar items be removed, discussed, and acted upon separately. Items removed from the consent calendar will be taken up upon the excluded consent calendar section below. Those items remaining on the consent calendar will be approved in one motion following oral communications. Are there any members of the commission or public that wish to pull any items for further discussion?
Yes, please. F2. And I understand F3 is already pulled out, right? So we are going to have a discussion on the John Parsons public art, or no?
I'm sorry?
I don't think so.
Oh, this, I'm basically looking at last time meeting. So basically the agenda and the John Parsons, please. I would like to pull them out.
Are there any other items that we'd like to pull? Okay. And is there a motion to approve the consent calendar as is?
Don't we have to
Do we
discuss?
discuss them first? Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we need to approve item F1, and then we would discuss F2 and F3 separately.
F1 then, sure.
Is there a motion to approve item F1?
I move to approve the F1 in the consent calendar.
I second.
Commissioner Tanner moves, Commissioner Gold seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so our pulled consent items. Do we start with our minutes?
Just two very small items, actually more personal than anything else. First of all, I just wanted to go on record to congratulate our new chairman because I wasn't here last time. And I just wanted to thank our outgoing chairman, current vice chairman, for her leadership. Thank you very much. On that note, I've been on the record in this commission saying that we should hold the meetings, all the elections of meetings, not in a special meeting in November because not too many people show up. I greatly respect, your election. I think you will be a great chairman and vice chairman, but going forward, may I just suggest maybe this is the time, or maybe we can discuss this later, that from now on we should have elections on the first meeting of the year, change the bylaws, because as you can see, we get more people, and special meetings are not great to have elections just by the nature that they are special meetings. So this is just a suggestion. We can discuss this later on. On the agenda itself, I just also want to go on the record that I understand that during the meeting that I wasn't here and some of our fellow commissioners weren't here, there was a vote which approved the consultant's suggestions to include the LGBTQ. It goes by statute here, but I would say like memorial or some other term, or the, I just want to go on the record, I would have voted no on that for a variety of reasons that we can discuss later on when the appropriate thing comes up. Unless if you want to hear my argument right now, I'll be more than happy to summarize it, why I would have voted no.
Well, just, I think that, can you maybe clarify a little bit?
Well, Commissioner Tanner, the item is whether or not you have any corrections that need to be made on the minutes.
Okay,
It's not really an opportunity
I
to.
just started by saying that I have two personal items, so I just said that. So let me come to the correction point. I also understand from the status project report later on written here that a draft Artesia project was approved by this commission and later on approved by the city council. Is that correct?
Yes.
I did not see any motion to that effect in these notes, so maybe I missed it. Can you point out where that is?
I don't believe we were looking for approvals. We were looking for your recommendations for changes or alterations.
Okay.
And we did receive those.
Okay, then I was misled because in the status of projects that you later on submitted in your John Parsons Art project, the wording is draft master plan approved by the CAC on November 19 and adopted by the city council. So maybe that's the wrong wording.
Sounds like a correction needs to be made.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's all. Thanks. On the John Parsons part,
Should we approve that?
Yes, we should
First, okay.
close that item. So if you want to, and if someone wants to motion to receive and file, and then we can move to J3, or excuse me, what item is that? Is that F3?
F3, yes.
F3, yeah. So if we can vote on F2 and then we can move to F3.
Is there a motion to receive and file Commissioner Tanner's changes to F2?
I'll make a motion.
Commissioner Christian Kelly motions. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Pitzel seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
On F3, thank you very much. I love this new format. It gives in much more detail where we are spending the money, especially this is the first time that I'm seeing it includes the deposits made into the fund. I think that's huge progress. The only comment I would like to make there is there are 1, 2, 3 construction companies listed as the depositors. I would say the onus of making those deposits is on the landlord and the resident rather than, and the recognition they should get for making such a big deposit should be whatever it's a commercial entity or a resident of Redondo Beach rather than the person who actually performs the construction.
Well, this would be a question then for the is it community development? Community development. This gets entered into Munis. I take this directly out of the Munis system.
No, I understand. I understand, but I think it would be, since we are seeing it, I think it would be great to see who is actually contributing, who actually, this money doesn't come out of the pocket of the construction company. It comes out of the pocket of, let's say, Northrop Grumman or, Joe's Bakery or a person. It would be, I think, to me, it makes more sense to see the actual contributor to the fund rather than the intermediaries.
I understand. I will ask and see if such things are possible.
Thank you, that's great. And then last time we talked about, in this beautiful format, doing a month-to-month comparison, like, or year-to-date or month-to-month, how things have changed from the previous month?
Yeah, there will be a year-to-year. There's already one year-to-date, or year-to-year. I will make sure that that's continued. If I can get month-to-month, I will, but doesn't seem to be enough continual deposits to make that worthwhile. But certainly fiscal year to fiscal year, definitely.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for this new format. It's great. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, of course. Thank you. I just want to say a few things. One, thank you for this, because it is really nice to look at. I noticed a few projects that we have coming up that I just wanted to draw attention to. Sea Chatter looks great. I don't know if anyone's had a chance to drive by and check that out, but I noticed that our dedication ceremony is scheduled for Monday. Is that right?
That's
February
correct.
2nd? Okay.
Monday at 12 noon.
Great. Do we have a flyer or anything that we could?
We just had to settle on the exact time and the location where on the site we were doing that. We did that today. I'll have a flyer out tomorrow.
Great. Thank you, Jack. I encourage everyone to come and celebrate that great artwork that's been done for us. The other thing I wanted to talk about is just progress on Gatewave. It looks like we're moving forward. Do we have any other updates on that?
Not at this time. We're waiting. The next step is for the artist, Vulcan. I will not try and mispronounce his last name. And he is to send us his final engineering drawings to be reviewed by our engineering planning departments. So we're awaiting those.
Great. Good. And my last question about this is the funds from the transit center. I know we've talked about this a lot. How can we go about getting that released from this area and put back in our budget so that we can look at using it somewhere else?
I'm sorry, say that
The
again?
transit center funds.
That was proposed.
Okay.
And they made the choice instead to allocate remaining funds for the LGBTQ sculpture instead of there may be something involving the needs of the transit center. They receive some federal funding for that, and it may require some art. So I need to find out exactly what the details of that are, whether or not they can release the money or whether that causes a problem with some of the earlier grants.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I had for that. Does anyone else have anything about F3? Okay. Is there a motion to receive and file?
I make a motion to receive and file.
I second.
Thank you. Commissioner Gold motions. Commissioner Tanner seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay. We are now at H, is that correct? So public participation on non-agenda items. This section is intended to provide members of the public with the opportunity to comment on any subject that does not appear on this agenda for action. This section is limited to 30 minutes. Each speaker will be afforded 3 minutes to address the commission. Each speaker will be permitted to speak only once. A reminder to commissioners, this is just a reminder that no discussion shall occur during this portion of the meeting. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak?
Georgette Gantner, District 2. Just real curious, just real quick. We already discussed it, so it's not really non-agenda, but just to clarify, the Sea Chatter dedication, is that on Catalina? Is that the mural?
Yes.
Okay, and also, Jack, is it possible to get a copy for I as a a resident to get a copy of the John Parsons Fund Report, or is there someplace online I could go?
Address the,
Sorry.
Yeah.
Is it possible for a member of the public to get a copy of that?
Is that possible? Yes. Is that public?
Yeah, it is on the city website. It's attached to the agenda.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, I didn't see it. Okay, thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Are there any online comments?
There are no e-comments at this time,
Okay. Thank you.
and no attendees on Zoom.
Okay. So we are now at J, items for discussion. J1 is discussion and possible action regarding feedback on the draft request for qualifications, RFQ for Phase 1 art installations of the Artesia Boulevard Strategic Plan.
Okay, good evening, Commission. I am happy to be back. We're happy to continue our momentum on this project. And so I'm going to jump in and do a quick presentation. But before I do, can I just ask do we have anyone on Zoom? Because our consultant was scheduled to be attending. I just want to make sure.
We have Bu Labas on Zoom.
Perfect. Okay, so he is on. Okay, sorry, I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce the item. Bo Labas, he is our consultant for this project and is online. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here this evening, but wanted to be available to go through the RFQ with you since his team drafted it and to answer any questions you have. So I do have a quick presentation, if I may. Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is a two-part item, so if you can kind of bear with us today, I'll do my best to make sure that it doesn't get too confusing. But I wanted to start and just give you all a brief overview of kind of where we are with this process. And some of you have seen this image a few times. We are making revisions to it as some additional tasks or line items are added, just for clarification purposes, really. The process hasn't changed. We just wanted to make it as transparent and easily understandable by anyone that may be interested in the project. So as you can see, we've completed all of task 1, which is really exciting progress, which task 1 was the SWOT analysis and the development of the plan. So if you remember, we came to November, you provided input and recommendations, and the City Council adopted the plan in December. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. So now we're on to task 2, and this is, in some ways, one of the most exciting parts, and this is where it really gets to have the vision of the projects and the individual locations really starts to come to life, and we could start putting those pieces together of what could potentially be. And so we're currently on the first 2 steps here, the development of the community panel, which I'll talk about in just a moment as well, and for the Cultural Arts Commission to review the draft RFQ. And this is a really critical step in this process, and we'll go into more details of what the RFQ is. But just to kind of remind you all and to give you a bit of an update on the City Council's formal action. So they approved the plan on December 16th, 2025, and after hearing your recommendations, they made the following locations that they identified that they want to have included as part of the Phase 1 installations. And so that included 2 median installations, 1 east monument just west of Inglewood, a separate west monument east of Aviation, and both of those are in medians as well. There are 5 existing concrete benches along Artesia, and so these would be enhancements to existing infrastructure. There would be 5 of those. They voted for 1 crosswalk. Sorry, that should be bike path crosswalk, not bike path crosswalk. But that's the North Redondo Beach bike path crosswalk. And so there will be 1 crosswalk installation painted on the street surface there. And then the addition of, and this was a recommendation of the commission, adding an additional allocation of funding for the LGBTQ plus sculpture, in front of the North Branch Library. And so these are all of our identified locations and installation types that will be included as part of phase 1. And if you remember, all of phase 1 installations are scheduled to be installed, if everything goes as planned, by July 31st, 2027. And so we're going to keep this momentum moving forward. There's quite a few steps for us to get to the point where we know what we're going to be putting into each location. And so I wanted to briefly go through and just make sure that you all understood everything that will need to happen between now and the end of July 2026. So we have about 6 months or so, 7 months, to complete all 12 of these steps, in theory, at least up to item 11. We're hoping to get 12 completed then, but sometimes the contracts can take a little long. But at least by the end of July, we're hoping to have the City Council finalize the individual artworks for each location. And so I'm just going to briefly go through these steps again, just to kind of remind you of what is outlined in both the contract with LeBass Projects, our consultant for this, as well as what's outlined in our master plan for the art. So as you can see, number 1 is what we're here doing this evening for the commission to review the RFQ. Following this tonight, we'll receive your input and we will immediately release the RFQ. Following that, we will do an internal review of the RFQ responses, and that will be done by LBP. So it's really a third party is doing it. And really they're just looking at who is qualified to do the individual artworks. From there, they're going to kind of focus all of those responses down and give a more digestible grouping of artists and proposals for the community panel to review. And the community panel will be made of community members, as well as 2 commissioners here and 1 city employee. And then once the community panel reviews all of the responses, then they will make recommendations to this commission of which artist and art teams they prefer to be invited to participate in the RFP process. So the RFQ is request for qualifications. That's simply saying, we're throwing our name in the hat. This is our list of qualifications. Please consider us. The RFP is a little bit more refined. It's specific to each location. It's specific for the artwork that they would like to create for that location. And so they would be given a stipend and actually spend time developing what the actual artwork would be for that location. So moving on from there, we would have to take those final recommended artists to the City Council to approve the stipend amount, because that will come out of John Parsons Public Art Fund. So we just want to make sure that, again, full transparency of how we're spending those funds. And then we'll go on to number 7, which is releasing the RFP. And a similar process will follow here from what we did with the RFQ, where LBP, LeBass Projects, will review the RFPs. They'll kind of pare it down a bit into more digestible groupings for the community panel to review. Community panel will make their final recommendations, let's say 3 to 5 for each location, and potentially even saying we really want this one, but here's the top 3. And then we'll come back to you as a commission as a whole to give the final recommendation of which artwork specific for each location. We will again take that final item back to council to approve the final artworks. And then from there, we will start entering into the artist contracts. So there is a lot of steps. I do think this is possible within our timeline, but it is really critical that whoever is selected for the community panel, and again, I'll speak on that a little bit more detail in a moment, has the availability and ability really to really kind of roll up their sleeves. We could get any number of responses to both the RFQ and the RFP, and we just want to make sure that that we're able to have participation from the commission as we need to, just to keep the momentum going. So we'll talk about that again in a little bit. So the request for qualifications, you'll hear us refer to it as the RFQ, really provides artists an opportunity to express interest in the project. And when I say project, I'm suggesting phase one as a whole. When Bo will speak probably more eloquently on this when he has an opportunity in a moment. But artists, when they apply for the RFQ, they can select any number of locations, different mediums, whatever it is. Or they may just say, no, I really envision this for this location. This is what I specialize in. They may just choose one. And so, but it's really just an opportunity for them to throw their name in the hat for any and all locations. It allows time to pre-sort through experienced artists, which then through the process, it helps us expedite later processes. And then lastly, it ensures that those moving forward are qualified and have the experience to complete the site installation. We certainly don't want to get to the end and realize that maybe they weren't as qualified or didn't have the resources that we're hoping they would have to give us a high quality product. So, so this really is a critical step on the front end for us to make sure that as we move forward and really get into more detail with the actual artist, that we are doing so with those who can actually carry out the projects that we enter into contracts with. So with that, I'm going to turn it over. Bo is going to go through the RFQ for you, and he'll be available to answer any questions. Once he's done, I will jump back on and give you a quick overview of the community panel item that we're asking for your input on as well. So I'm going to, if I can still leave my presentation up though, because I'm going to scroll as Bo's speaking. So, but I'm going to turn it over to Bo.
Thank you, Kelly. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I don't know if my video needs to be on. Can you see me as well?
No.
No.
Okay,
No.
I'll turn my video off so I'm not looking at myself.
Yeah.
That's great. Kelly, that was great. Thank you so much for walking that through, commissioners. I apologize I can't be there in person, but I'm glad I'm able to at least walk through the RFQ with you and hopefully answer any questions. I will start by saying, while there are 7 different art location opportunities that we've walked through and talked about as part of the strategic plan, we have done this in the past where rather than sending out 7 separate RFQs, we like to send out one that includes all of the different locations and opportunities, because we actually use a special software that's designed for collecting and sort of sorting and processing these types of applications, called Submittable. It's a proprietary application that we pay for. And what it allows artists to do is see the opportunity, go into a link, and easily apply. And they are able to check whether it's one or all of the opportunities that they wish to apply for, and they can just apply one time rather than, let's say they wanted to apply to 4 opportunities, have to submit 4 separate applications. So that's one of the reasons we group this. We've worked with a lot of artists in the past, and a process like this where they're able to just sort of select which opportunities and apply one time makes it a lot easier for artists, allows us to really tap into a bigger pool because we simplify the process for the artist. So that's one of the reasons we're looking at this as an overall pool, and we'll be able to sort in Submittable in our application by each opportunity. It's funny, we're working with another city on a similar sort of scaled project where we have 3 opportunities out. We haven't closed the RFQ for that yet, but we have almost 300 applications. So that's to give you a sense of typically we'll see 200 to 300 applications for these types of projects, and we would expect to see the same for Redondo Beach. And I say that because we do our best to cast a very wide net. I know we intend to tap into as many local resources as we can again, to try to put the word out to any local artists that we might not be able to reach out to. But there are quite a few online sort of posting resources, both local and national, that we typically will post this opportunity to. So our job is to try to get this into as many artists' hands as possible, both locally, regionally, and beyond. In addition, I know we've been we've been getting requests and, for information about this project since we've started from a lot of local artists. So we actually have a list that we'll make sure we reach out to once this goes out to make sure that artists are aware of these opportunities. So we can kind of go page by page. This type of RFQ is very standard, not just for us, but for other civic calls. It describes, for artists that might not be familiar with Redondo Beach, sort of what we're looking for. I guess, Kelly, we can go to the sort of second page. And please feel free to stop me as we're going through. If you have any questions, I'm happy to sort of discuss, but, as we work our way through it.
Can I? In that app, is there a way, and I'm just thinking ahead here, when we do the artist selection, is there a way to vote or in that process that you guys have done, how did you approach, if you get 300 applications?
Yes, absolutely. And so in what sort of Kelly walked through the process, typically, we will get 300 applications. Typically 2/3 are not necessarily qualified, or people are applying for $100,000 sculpture opportunities that only paint, 12-inch, watercolors in their garage, right? So they're not necessarily qualified for some of the opportunities. Our team will typically go through and vet that down as much as possible, really to save the panel time. That being said, whoever the selection panel, ends up being, we will give them access to the ability and they'll have the ability, if you want to spend the time, you can see every single one and sort through every single one of the applications. And then, yes, when it's time to score and review sort of a shorter list of vetted options, each of the panelists will be able to, we'll have a time window of like, hey, this is the 2 weeks where we're trying to, we have a deadline to try to review and score. Each panelist will be able to go into Submittable with their own login and actually review the applications that are set up, make notes, score, and we'll typically have a scoring rubric that'll have a sort of like a 0 to 10 on the listed sort of qualification criteria.
All right.
Does that answer your question? But yes,
it
yeah.
does.
So you'll absolutely be able to log in and score it all within the application.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question as well. So if you guys are going through, say, I'm not sure how quickly you can do it, but half of all of the applications, the RFQs, who is it that lets the artists know they were not selected?
We do. So once we get through, let's say, the first phase and the community panel narrows it down to, and I'm making up numbers, right? So for opportunity 1, the selection panel narrows it down to 15 artists or, 10 artists that they want to shortlist, whatever that might be. We'll send out, and again, this is the beauty of our platform, is that we're able to send out an automated, appreciative thank you for applying, at this point, your application is, we're moving on, and keep an eye out for other opportunities, kind of thing.
Thank you.
I have a question. Hi, would you consider including in the RFQ an encouragement for certain groups or local residents to apply?
I believe in our curatorial expectations and eligibility, we typically, we're already calling out, what we're looking for in terms of eligibility, in terms of selection process. And if there's any specific language you'd like to add, in terms of selection process, obviously we talk about artistic ability, both quality, originality, and strength of work, plus experience and capability, and also, their connection and inclusivity and representation. We want to make sure that artists demonstrate sensitivity and connection to both, local communities, diverse communities. We have a lot of that language in there, but if there's anything specific, we can certainly add.
No, I think that's, more of a philosophical question. I mean, an artist is an artist regardless of, which path of life they came from, or whether they're a Redondo Beach resident or not, but it would be nice, maybe not exactly in the RFQ, but in our marketing process, that we let at least our local residents know that such an opportunity. It would be great to have a local artist represented in one of those, various projects rather than out-of-towners. That's all.
No, agreed. We don't necessarily, we won't put the scoring rubric onto the RFQ, but usually in the scoring rubric, one of the categories is local connectivity. And so, that'll be in the scoring process. We'll weight scoring to local artists and artists that are from the community or have direct relationships with the community versus an artist, say, from New York.
In that case, let's try to make it a little bit explicit then. I mean, at least we can use the wording like local artists are encouraged to apply something.
I believe we have that language in actually RFQ already, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Can we go backwards just for a moment to my previous question?
Sure, sorry.
So just to say, if 300 artists apply and you guys go through it and pare it down, I was just looking at the math going, wow, if it's 300 and there are only 5 of us on the panel, that means each of us are going to go through 60 applications. Is that correct? Or
no, I don't think there's an expectation. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's an expectation that we're splitting up the group for you to review. And what I'll say is, if we have 300 applications, and let's say for the median sculptures, right? Let's say we had 150 artists that actually are showing interest in that. Our team will typically go through those applications and vet them before we try to take up the community panel or the commission's time, because oftentimes we'll have artists that really are just checking a box and trying to apply when they're not really qualified. So, somebody will get an artist that, again, only paints watercolors and they live in Tampa, Florida, applying to do a median sculpture. Like, we'll just, that application will remain in the pool, but we'll sort of, we will not, we'll sort of take them out of the actual pool that the commission and the community panel is actually going to be reviewing.
So in your past experience, how many artists typically get through for then the commission and the community member and the staff?
Yeah, so it's the community panel. Typically, we have an understanding of what the community, we've been working with you, with city staff, we have an understanding of like what Redondo Beach is looking for. Typically, we try to, and for each opportunity, we end up looking at, 30 to 50 artists. It's a little more manageable in terms of time for the community panel, for the selection panel.
So the selection panel would be looking at, as a group, 30 to 50 artists.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Could be less, could be more. It all depends on the quality of the applicants. That being said, you will have access of, if you're on the selection panel, you'll have access to all 300. So if you have the time and energy and you want to come through and make sure we didn't miss anybody, like, we encourage that. But we're also trying to be, the city's paying us to spend our time doing this, but we recognize that, you might not have the amount of time to go through all 300 applications, but we welcome the opportunity if that's something you chose to do as part of the panel.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, did I answer the question? I apologize.
No, you did. I'm just trying to weigh my odds about putting my hat in the ring to be part of that.
And also, we want to be, once we have a selection panel, we want to do our job to make it as easy as possible for that selection panel, while at the same time giving that panel the opportunity to see as many of the artists as they want. Before we share, I'm sure we'll have conversations with the selection panel, and this is what we typically have done in the past, where if the panel trusts us to, like, hey, give us 15 for each opportunity, right? We don't want to see 50 for each opportunity. And we've had situations where some panelists are like, I want to see everybody. And so like, we welcome that. So if you told us as a selection panel that like, hey, we want to see the top 15 for each opportunity or top 10, then we'll do our best to narrow that down, and we can give you a strategic, these are why we picked these 10, because they have experience, because the work is quality, because, you know, these 8 are local. Well, we can narrow it down as tight or as broad as really the selection panel wants us to support them.
Thank you.
I have another question. Are the visuals included in the RFQ that we have in front of us, are the only visuals that the applicants will see, or are you going to be able to supply them with more specific visuals about the particular locations?
Right now, these are the only visuals, because at this stage, we're not, the second stage, the RFP, when we're trying to get site-specific proposals, we'll tend to get more detailed architectural plans, more views. At this stage, we're really just trying to build an artist pool. We actually specifically ask artists not to send us any actual concepts. These are just showing interest in these opportunities based on budget and location.
Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense, but specifically for the LGBTQ project, I live very close by to that library, and there's very little space in front of the library to erect a full-size sculpture or anything like that. But the library has actually 2 walls which face Artesia Boulevard and the oncoming traffic. So maybe a vertical sculpture or a wall sculpture or something like that would be quite interesting for this project. And I just wanted to make sure that the people who specialize in that type of an art, like, vertical gardens or things like that, are not excluded.
No, agreed. And I think at this stage, typically, we like to keep it a little broader so that more artists sort of will apply
Sure.
versus being very specific. Because, our job is to find somebody, an artist or a creative that can do something really interesting with that space, whether it's a vertical or it's a wall mounted, versus us being super specific and, precluding some artists from applying.
Okay, so in that case, would it be possible to change the word artwork opportunity sculpture to a broader concept for that location?
Sure.
That's
any
on page 90.
In terms of, yeah, I'm looking at the page right now. Like any recommendations suggesting like a sculpture or?
I don't know. I mean, or wall installation.
Sorry, I thought you were
maybe.
suggesting.
No, like maybe a wall installation or something like that.
I think sculpture is pretty broad, though. Sculpture can be walls. Sculpture can be.
Okay.
So sculpture. I totally. I get what you're saying. There's sculpture on the Performing Arts Center, and that's a wall sculpture that's there, the big aluminum one. So I think sculpture kind of puts it out there as it can be. It can be in various medias. It can be in mosaic. It can be steel. It can be aluminum. Sculpture is such a broad.
Lights, maybe.
Lights,
neon,
anything. So sculpture, I think the way that they worded it is perfect. As is from my perspective. Okay. Anybody?
Chair, if I may just make a quick suggestion, if we can, I'd like to let Bo just briefly go through the components of the RFQ, and that way maybe there's some questions that are just going to get answered through that. I think it's helpful to just get an overview of the entire document before we kind of jump around. So if I may make that suggestion. Please. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, Kelly, I just started like doing questions.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, so why don't we take a look at, so page 1 is really just about the call, about Redondo Beach. The second page outlines the various project opportunities on sort of a broad scale. Third page gets into the curatorial expectations, and this is where we're starting to try to narrow it a little bit in terms of, what we're looking for. And again, we're calling out a lot of the things that we got from the commission, from the public, and all of our community engagement. And, it's creating artwork that encourages public interaction and engagement, artwork that responds to, thoughtfully to the site. artwork that considers multiple viewpoints and our different approaches. Night and day activation, I think, is a big thing that we've talked about. And then a big thing for us is, the artists are thinking about material, like long-term, durability, sustainability, and like maintenance. So those are some of the broad expectations of what we would expect. And then we get into the eligibility of who can apply, and any artist that's 18 or older. We are not restricting to any of the geographic areas, but we highlight that we're strongly considering artists, obviously, who can demonstrate that they have the ability historically of working on these kinds of things. Artists, but again, we're trying to keep it open. In the past, we found some artists who are doing their first public installations who've really been great to work with. And so we want to let artists know that they don't have to necessarily have a ton of previous experience, but that they still have some capabilities we feel confident in. And then again, I think to one of the questions is, as broad as we can be, we want to always make sure we're letting artists in sort of historically underrepresented groups, know that they should be applying, because again, I think in our scoring rubric, we're trying to open up these opportunities to artists that are typically have been excluded from these kinds of projects. Getting into the selection process, again, just details for artists to understand like what the process is, and the scoring sort of platform that the selection panel will have, and we'll work with the city and the panel to make sure that the panel feels comfortable with that scoring, rubric. But for artists, we want them to know, like, we expect artists to show through their application, their artistic ability. Obviously, experience and capability is huge to deliver these kinds of projects. And again, we want to make sure artists are coming from diverse communities and understand the diverse community of Redondo Beach, right? We want artists to be able to create inclusive and culturally responsive art. Getting into the budget, we outlined the budget parameters, and in this case, the ranges are from $8,000 to $100,000 for different location opportunities. And we specify that final contracts will be based and determined on their approved proposals. And then what we expect those budgets to include, and typically that's the artist fees, design, fabrication, installation, et cetera. And then we get into what the artists will have to are required to provide for us, and all of these things are basically form, right? So we use this platform called Submittable that I discussed, and artists can click in, put their details in, all their contact details. They'll have to supply a letter of interest, and these are great because these really help us understand where an artist is coming from. They'll have to upload a resume and CV. Typically, we'll ask them to include 5 past work images, detailed images. And then they can submit references from past projects. And all of that, and I'll say that one of the challenges for artists, and we've heard this for years, is that when they have to apply to these things, sometimes the processes are laborious where artists will not apply because it's so much work to apply, and they know, if they have a low likelihood of winning an opportunity, then sometimes the work, it's just not worth it. But this application platform I use really makes it simple for artists. So that's one of the reasons that we like to use it. The timeline, again, this is based on, we're just assuming approval tonight that we can get this RFQ out next week. We'll have a 2-week window for artists to ask questions and submit questions, and then we will actually post responses to all the questions. So any artist who applies can see a list of all the questions that have been asked and answered. And then we have a deadline tentatively scheduled for the end of March, which gives a full 2-month window for us to promote this, to put it out there, and to collect applications. And then based on that, we sort of have a timeline of of a couple months for us to sort of review all of those, shortlist artists, work with the selection panel and Arts Commission to approve, sort of finalists to get to then submit an RFP and get concepts and actual concepts, and sort of the process all the way through hopefully selecting finalists by ideally the end of July. And then we have a little link of how to apply. And again, it's a straightforward click link, and then they can submit everything electronically. And then we sort of detail out, and again, this is for artists, the different phase one artwork locations sort of on a map, color coded. And then we have a little one pager about each of the actual locations. So we try to have a photo, location, the concept details. We do include some rough material like suggestions. And again, it's sort of like, the West Monument, we can't have that made out of paper, right? So we want to make sure we have some parameters. Again, just try to keep it broad but specific so that, not everybody applies, but that we get a wide range of artists applying for these opportunities. And then, on through, and then we do include some frequently asked questions to, try to answer any obvious questions that we've gotten in the past. And that's pretty much it. But I will say this RFQ is very standard both for us, for other, projects. We do love the platform we use to collect applications, and I can tell you just from past experience, we tend to get a lot of applications, which is great. It's a little more work for us, but we really make sure that we're casting a wide net, getting as many capable artists applying to these projects. And so that's the RFQ.
Thank you.
Quick question, if I may. Are you considering one artist for all 5 benches or separate artists?
I think we would be open to either, and that'll really be up to the selection panel. If we have, we didn't specify on purpose because maybe we find one artist and the selection panel is like, hey, this artist is perfect. They've got a concept that ties all 5 benches together. Maybe we find 3 artists that we really love, but not 5. And maybe, hey, we love this artist. They can do 2. So that's kind of open-ended for the selection panel.
Okay, in that case, may I suggest that it says the budget was 40,000, which can be a little bit confusing. So can we be a little bit more explicit on that, like maybe 8 times 5 or something like that? You know what I'm saying? I don't want anybody to think that they are going to be, doing one bench for $40,000.
I believe we have that in there somewhere, and that 40,000 is the combined budget for the benches.
That's exactly, I'm looking at it. But what I'm saying is it clear to everybody?
I agree. We do have that in the budget, but then on the individual page is listed as 40,000. I think that's totally fine to say 40,000, 8,000 per bench.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I think that's a good add. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, just to clarify, I think that's a good clarification.
I have a question that's in line with that as well, as far as maintaining an overall vision for this corridor. When we talk to the public or even the council people, is it up, I guess, the overall vision instead of having some kaleidoscope of color, right? Like instead of, I'm wondering how we're going to maintain the overall vision of that corridor. Like you said, it makes sense. Like if we like somebody and we have them, tag 5 concrete benches or whatever. But I do have that, I guess in my mind, is maintaining some sense of a thread, cohesion. I guess. Yeah, a thread from front to back. Because this is a lane, like you're entering that corridor. It's a corridor, right? From front to back or back to front, whatever side you come through. And that's all I'm wondering.
No, I think that's a good question. Interestingly enough, if you remember the community engagement, I think we
Yeah.
shared sort of the questions. We actually specifically asked that of respondents, like, should it all look the same? Should it all be different? And we kind of got an answer across the board. So there wasn't there was not a uniform, like, hey, we want this to all look dissimilar thematically.
Right, yeah.
I tend to agree with
Crimson
you, right? I think
colored,
it's,
yeah.
I think it's important that they all work together. They can be different artists all work together. That will ultimately be, and that's why it's so nice to have a single selection panel to work through it. And then obviously this commission will have to approve all of those, and then city council will also have to approve that on top of everything else. So there are some checks, right? But I think when we sit down with the selection panel, and very clear, our team is not on the selection panel. We do not have a vote, but we're part of the process, helping guide it. And I think, again, that kind of question was important to us when we asked the community. I think that'll be definitely something that we work with the selection panel on as a consideration, right?
Yeah.
But like, as we're picking artists, you're right. It should be important that, hey, this median is right across from the library sculpture. Like, let's make sure that those things are, they don't have to be the same, but that they're working in harmony versus like clashing with each other. So I think it's a really good question, but definitely something that we're thinking about, and that we'll make sure that selection panel is considering.
And then another question, I have two questions. I have one, as far as there's a Redondo Beach sign in the median that's there already, that monument thing. And I guess my only concern is are we going to put something instead of that there, or in addition to, and in the event that we do pull that concrete Redondo Beach sign, that we figure out a way to repurpose that somewhere if we do take that out?
Yeah, Commissioner Miller, I can answer that.
Kelly,
Sorry,
yeah.
Bo.
Okay,
Yeah, I just
No.
thought I'd step in. And so this was something the City Council really discussed at length during their deliberation. Whether it was enhancing that sign and it still being a welcoming sign, or should the city logo be on this new Envision sign? And they landed on it no longer being a welcome sign. And we called it, I forgot what because even Bo and I and his team discussed it. We called it the monument, I believe. Yeah, an East monument. And so it's no longer a welcome sign. It will be replaced.
Okay.
As far as what we do with what's currently there, we have not decided that, but we're not too far down the road to figure out what we should do with that.
Yeah,
so,
okay,
yeah, we won't throw it away without figuring out what to do with it first. Yeah.
And then my last... Okay.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, I think the city council, because there's a new logo, I think the city council was talking about.
That was my...
Yeah.
It's old now.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so we may not want to keep it, but it will be part of the discussion at some point. Yes.
And then my last question with these concrete benches, we're keeping the benches. Okay, we're just going to do something with them. All right, that's it.
Those are all new. So I'd hope we keep them. They're new.
Well, I mean, I didn't know how much concrete costs. Like, if you wanted to make something new up and just...
No, yeah. No, the intent is to keep them, and whatever artwork will be added to what's currently there.
Hi, Bo. It's Commissioner O'Brien Herrera. I have just two quick questions for you. How many artists do you expect to bring to the commission once it's gone through the committee?
Well, the plan is a selection panel to narrow this down, honestly, to anywhere between 2 to 4 finalists that we will get site-specific concepts from.
Great, thank you. And then one other question. You mentioned a stipend that goes to the artist. How much is that stipend? And does that come from our already allocated money towards you, or is that something different that we need to look at budgeting?
Good question. Typically, stipends are between $500 and $1,000, depending on the complexity. And again, the reason we do that is we would never, we don't want to ask artists to provide concept work without paying them for the time.
Of course.
Those budgets are already included in the budgets as part of the overall project.
Okay.
That's not separate. And then the way we sort of range those, somebody who is providing concepts for, like say the concrete benches will probably be a $500 concept fee. Somebody who's providing a concept for the median sculptures, the larger elements, will tend to be $1,000. And the reason we do that is because when we are getting concepts for like the medians, they should not be like sort of drawings on napkins. They should be like renderings with some early engineering plans and some material details. So we expect a little more detail, which will be outlined in the RFP, the expectations.
Thank you.
One final question. Are the people who are going to be selected for phase one be automatically eligible for phase two?
I don't know. We haven't really considered that yet. I don't know if they would be automatically. And again, that's going to be a question for this commission, for selection panel. Sometimes if we've already selected and commissioned an artist for something, oftentimes we won't consider them for more, to provide more opportunities, but that's ultimately up to this commission.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. So I think we've had a good amount of questions for you. Thank you. This is Commissioner O'Brien Herrera again. I think we should now talk about any changes or anything that we see needs to happen with the RFQ, or should we vote to proceed as it is? Is that where we should go now?
Sure. I just want to make sure at some point we do take public comment on the item. So you could do that now or after. Yeah, of course.
Is there any public comment on this?
There are no e-comments and no attendees on Zoom.
Thank you.
Georgette Gander, District 2. The cohesiveness, I think, is a great point, because things could be distinctive, but yeah, it should kind of weave together so there's some kind of a realization of good planning. And I think that's wonderful. And I think a good way to think about it is the murals on Redondo, on the AES plant, each one of those could be viewed separately as something quite beautiful. Together, it's jarring and kind of awful to see one right next to the other with no division. And obviously, it's not going to be that close with this, but it's something to think about in order to make it as good as it could be. And when the businesses, well, okay, that's separate, never mind that. On the east and west monuments, maybe it's not resolved yet, but are you considering artwork there, or are those part of the street signs? I'm wondering, or do we not know yet? For Bo, I guess.
No, those will be commissioned artworks.
Okay, good. Okay. Also to keep in mind, we talked about murals before, and there's not too many public spaces to put murals in order to be incorporated into the Cultural Arts Commission budget or the city budget, but there are outside walls of the library that are public walls, and the farmers market has been approved now through Jim Mueller's group, and they will be holding their farmers market in the parking lot of the library. So those walls can be enhanced and paid for with public money, just to keep that in mind down the line.
Thank you.
And it's, at some point too, it'd be good to organize a committee to talk to the businesses about murals. So again, we can have cohesiveness with that. And the last thing is self-serving. I would love to volunteer, or I would like to be aware of the process in order to apply to be on the panel as a resident. So hopefully those details will be made available at some point.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, the changes I suggest, that's something we discussed
Mr.
earlier.
Tanner, 1 second.
One addition.
I'm sorry.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Rick McQuillan, resident of Manhattan Beach, a fan of Redondo, big fan of Artesia Boulevard. I'm just going to ramble a little bit, but on this subject, I sent you an email this morning. Now, Georgette said it was marked as spam or something. I don't know why, but sorry to tell you that. But what I was pointing out was there is a sign on the top of Redondo Liquor that, I'll mention this one more time, then you won't hear me mention it again, but it looks like an old Googie architecture, like a mid-century sign. And that actually kind of has an element of the old Redondo that I know. If we're talking about strategy, when I first moved here, I worked at a company called TRW for several years, which is now Northrop Grumman. And at that time, which was decades ago, the place kind of had a feel of aerospace and beach. You know, the intersection of aviation and Artesia is tantalizingly close to the beach. You crest there and then you're heading down toward the beach. So if you're thinking of strategic elements, you might want to consider those elements kind of possibly like a neo aerospace. Maybe Northrop would be more interested in helping out if that was the case. I don't know. Or something like a Googie type of a strategy, which I like that style myself. I don't know if that's Googie or if it's Keach. Maybe Bo knows, but and maybe combine that kind of like whether you're heading toward the beach. These would be strategies you might want to think about. And another thing that has come up too is people have referred to Artesia as Uptown Redondo. You got your South Redondo, or you've got your Uptown Redondo or Upper Redondo. So those could be elements of a strategic theme that you might want to consider. And I'll mention some just one other thing too. Like I said, one of the things I like about Redondo Village, Riviera Village, is there's a lot of mix of old and new. They retain a lot of the 60s and 70s architecture, and then that's mixed with 2020 stuff. And I just love that feel. That's me personally, but we might want to consider that. That's why I was suggesting consider that sign that's on top of Redondo Liquor. Maybe we could pull that down and get it working again, display that. And there's also some flagstone on the front of your kindergarten that's kind of pretty, if it's possible to retain things like that. I don't know. But that's a bit of kind of older Redondo. And there's one other element too, and I'll end it, which is, so the bridge, the railroad bridge itself heading from the east is just a gateway into Artesia. And right now it's like you're entering into a damp basement. And so if we know now that the Metro line is gonna go on Hawthorne, which would be great either way, but now if we know what is gonna be the future of that bridge, maybe we can put pressure on the owners or take it upon ourselves to do something to beautify that, to maybe it's like you're entering into an enchanted area. So I know this is not part of the this plan, which is great, but please think about incorporating those elements and trying to leverage some of the things that are already there, like you're doing with the benches, which I love that idea, just improve the existing benches.
Thank you.
I will leave it at that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Now, as I said, I think we've discussed, are there any changes that we'd like to have made to this RFQ, or would we like to go ahead and vote for it as is?
Yeah, I think we talked about changing the budget for the concrete benches to 8,000 times 5. And by the way, the same thing is probably also valid on page 87 for the Artesia Boulevard media installation, where it says budget 100,000. So maybe we can say 100,000 times 2.
Yeah, or just each or whatever. Yeah, just whatever the word. Yeah, something like that.
So just,
I agree.
do have a concern about that, though.
Yes.
Maybe we could, because what if someone has a really great idea for one of them and it's 60,000, and someone else has a really great idea for one and it's 40,000? We're still within budget. I don't want to say that we can only spend 50 and 50. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right, like if one's 10,000 and somebody else is 2,
Yeah. Same thing with the benches. Like if we have 3 great bench ideas and they come in under budget, why can't we spend a little bit more on the other 2 great bench ideas that might cost a little more?
So what's the idea? How do you rate that then?
I don't know. I think the way they have it written right now
Okay, in that case
is okay, and it can say, I don't know how you want to write this, but maybe we say benches 8,000 up to 8,000 for 5 benches. So it leaves it a little vague where we still have that room to play.
Right, like if we want one bench bedazzled for $12,000.
Then we have that ability.
Right, yeah.
But we need to be consistent. So how do you want to write the Artesia Boulevard median installation budget? Keep it as 100,000 or make it 200,000? Or make it 100,000 times 2?
Bo, what's your suggestion?
A lot of times at this stage, we like to keep it a little more vague, specifically for some of the reasons.
Like we're talking.
Yeah, that we're discussing is that somebody might have we have $100,000 budget per median, and sometimes we don't like putting, 100,000 each, because then what happens is you'll get people applying and like, hey, I need 125 because they know there's more
Okay.
money. So it's sort of like, hey, and we don't really need to call out that they're $200,000 opportunities, because when an artist clicks for one, they're basically applying. It's the same application for those, right? So for the median installations, we're going to commission 2, but the application process is the same for, because they're essentially the same scale and scope. We're not really splitting those up as separate categories. But again, we're totally fine. If the recommendation is to call out, 8,000 per bench, we're happy to do that. But I think at this stage, typically a little open-ended at this stage is not an issue. Typically, when we get into the RFPs and getting into concepts, then we want to tighten some of those things up. When we get those concepts, artists tend, if you tell them you have $8,000, they're going to,
Make it
budget
for
up to
$1,000.
$8,000. Yeah.
So in your expert opinion, we're good where we're at.
Yeah, I mean,
All
we
right.
can make minor changes and sort of be.
No,
sort
you're
of
the
be more
expert.
detailed,
That's what
but
I'm saying. You're the expert.
yeah.
In your expert opinion, it's good.
I would say historically, when we put these calls out, we try to keep them a little more open-ended.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Thank you. Are there any other ideas up for discussion that we would like to have changed on this? Or are we good to go to a vote?
Looks pretty good, in my opinion.
So we vote on this now. Is there a motion to vote on the RFQ as presented?
I make a motion.
I second.
Commissioner Christian Kelly motions, Commissioner Melendez seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And Chair, if I may, I would like to go back. I'm sorry, Bo, did you have something to add on that?
Oh, no, I was just going to thank everybody and just let everyone know how excited we are to kind of get this out in the community and start building a pool.
Okay, thank you so much, Bo. I appreciate it. I would just want to go briefly back so we can select the 2 community panel members. So I do have a few slides on that if I can get that back up on the screen.
Thank you.
And I'll go through these pretty quickly because we talked about it a little bit more than I had initially intended, which is great. So like we talked about for the community panel, it's super critical. It's an integral part of this. The panel will consist of 2 community members with an interest or background in the arts, with at least 1 residing in districts 3, 4, or 5, which is specific because it's so close to Artesia Boulevard. There will also be 1 city representative designated by staff, which will most likely be someone in our public works team so that they can be part of the process on the front end to make sure infrastructure, long-term maintenance, all of that is kind of part of the equation. And then 2 cultural arts commissioners, which is where we're here for you all tonight. And so just referring back to our kind of timeline here, items 4 and 9 is really where the community panel will be doing really all of their work. And that will be reviewing the RFQs and then also reviewing the RFPs. And as we kind of talked about earlier, it's not only just reviewing, but it's making a recommendation and pairing that list, the master list that you get from Bo and his team, down to the top 4 or 5 or whatever that number looks like, and presenting that to the commission. It will be the community panel's recommendation to the commission in both instances for both the RFQ and the RFP. And so for tonight, you guys have already done number 1, which is provide input on the proposed RFQ. And so we just ask you to have 2 of you either volunteer and be formally approved to be on the community panel.
I'll volunteer.
Should we go down?
Okay, we might have a few volunteers.
Yeah, should we just go through all of the commissioners, see who's interested in volunteering, and then go for a vote if we have more than 2? What would you recommend?
It's really up to you guys how you want to do it. I'm sure there's a lot of interest in it, so there's probably no great way to do this, to be honest with you. I just do want to just remind you too, we do have to public comment, so you're welcome to do that now if you'd like to, and then just get into voting since there's probably not too much discussion.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Can we do public comment
Sure,
first,
of
please?
course.
And I do have one question before we get to that, because I think maybe public comment might also be, how do we pick the members of the community to join this?
That will be done at the staff level, and most likely in consultation with the council members from each district. We really want them, they know their communities best, and so we want to make sure to really have their insight in that. So that will be done collectively.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
Is there public comment?
Nobody?
Okay.
Any online? No?
Any online comment?
There are no online comments and no attendees on Zoom.
Thank you. Thank you. Can we just go through and let us know your interest in joining the community panel? Commissioner Tanner?
No, thanks.
Okay. Commissioner Pitzel?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Christian Kelly?
Are you asking?
If you'd like to be on the panel.
I would like to be on the panel.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Michelle O'Brien Herrera, I would like to be on the panel as well. Commissioner Melendez?
I live over there close. I'm District 4. I would like to be on there.
Okay. And Commissioner Gold?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us that would like to be on this panel. I think I'm glad that we're all excited. How should we go about doing this? Should we
You can't vote for yourself.
Okay.
That's all I know.
So we have 2 spots to fill. Would we like to just go through and vote for 2? Would everyone like to tell me, maybe this might help too, if you live, as Juan said, if you live near this district, that might make a difference?
The only reason, by the way, I said no, because I have people connected to me who are going to apply for RFQ, so I don't want to cause a conflict of interest.
Thank you.
Oh, that's a very good point. So if you think that you're going to try and put your name in the hat to be an artist, then I would suggest that you not be on the committee.
Mm-hmm. Or if you know of them, is that what you're suggesting as well?
I just think that there's a conflict of interest, especially if you know some of the artists.
Do you want to maybe suggest everybody go through why they're passionate about wanting to be on the committee? Maybe that's a good way.
That's a great idea. Thank you. So we'll start with you, Commissioner Pitzel. So if everyone can just tell us, if you live in these districts, it was
3, 4, and 5.
3, 4, and 5, thank you. If you live in districts 3, 4, or 5, and why you'd be interested in joining the panel?
I'll go first.
Yeah, thank you.
So I do not live in those districts. I live in number 2. And however, I work right off of Artesia Boulevard. So I'm on that street every single day, except Saturday. I get 1 day off every week. So, and as far as my qualifications, I have probably 15 years of vetting artists and getting through South Bay Hands on Art and getting interest from artists to submit projects for what we do with South Bay Hands on Art. So I've done this a lot.
Thank you.
I love it.
Commissioner Christian Kelly.
Yes, I also frequent Artesia, coming from work from El Camino College in the arts department. So I have family also that has loves that area. They reside there. I have friends that reside there. We frequent the restaurants. We are definitely always in that community, the library. My definitely commitment is to make sure that everybody would be have their voice in to see what would be on that Artesia corridor for artwork, because it's long overdue, and I think everybody's getting restless with that. So I would definitely put my best efforts with that, and I feel like I have a good, decent enough background that would be very impactful. So
Thank you.
Which district do you live in?
I'm in 2. But I'm there daily. So I think that that's something that we all benefit, we all hopefully visit each district or each area, it always seems like it's North Redondo, South Redondo, but for me, it's all of Redondo. So, I think that, and that's what we need to have, especially in North Redondo, is more of, of a commitment with everybody kind of getting into all of our other areas and not just say it north and south all the time. Or
Thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Melendez?
I'm a little more competitive. I went to art school. I don't know what to say about that stuff as far as qualifications. I maintain a pretty good relationship with Councilman Obaji. I spoke with him a lot of the projects that are on this list already. I had a hand in getting it to the council. I am significantly intent on maintaining that area has a cohesive idea, a thread that goes from one side to the other or whatever. Whether you're coming or going, it should be cool. I kind of go against, I believe in the whole one Redondo thing, but I tend to frequent Riviera Village. I go there a lot. And I would like to beat them.
Thank you.
Did you say meet them?
Beat them.
Oh,
Commissioner Gold?
I love that, thank you. I live in District 3, and I'm on Artesia constantly. I'm there, I'd say, every day. I believe in supporting locals. I don't know, I'm as competitive about wanting to beat South Redondo. However, I don't mind a little friendly competition. I'm very passionate about art. I've been on the design committee. I have been volunteering with hands-on art. I grew up being artistic and creative, and I'm just passionate about beautifying our community with art and being a part of it and sharing a voice and allowing others to share a voice through whatever I learned from them. When the survey came out, I sent it to many, many of our fellow constituents in the neighborhoods, asking them to vote, and a lot of them were very passionate about art, and I actually encouraged some of them to apply for the community seat. So I'm hoping that maybe I can participate as well.
Thank you.
But I believe that any of us will do a fine job in whatever happens.
I just want to say something.
Thank you.
One
Yes.
real quick thing. I was on the Business Association for Riviera Village for many years, almost 8 years. And that's a committed group of people that really, really are passionate. And it is what it is because they put so much effort into it. So I would hope that gains its way for Artesia and North Redondo as well. But the reason why they're so successful is because they put so much effort into it, which is why it is so successful.
Yes.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of people that want to see it happen there. So hopefully it'll happen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then I also live several blocks from Artesia, so drive it daily. I love traveling the state, the country, the world, and looking at what they have outside. And I love walking in different towns and seeing how interesting it is. And I get really excited every time we talk about this, when I drive down Artesia, imagining what it can look like. So I just love the idea of being able to be on a panel where we can look at all of the inspiring ideas of what we can bring to our town and really help narrow that down. So I hope you consider me as well. With that being said, I think maybe the best way to do this is we'll just go down. Everyone can vote for 2 people, and we'll just see where the cards lie. Does that sound okay?
And we're not voting for ourselves?
We are not allowed to vote for ourselves. So, no pressure. Commissioner Tanner, we will start with you. I know, it's hard.
Give me 1 second, please.
Would it be easier if we went through twice and we all vote for one at a time?
No,
Okay.
no names. Just one second, I put down a note here, yeah.
No.
I vote for Commissioner Menendez and Commissioner Christian Kelly.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Pitzel?
Well, I vote for Commissioner Pitsley, and
No, you can't vote for yourself.
I know.
Mm.
So I'll vote for Commissioner Melendez and O'Brien O'Hara.
Thank you. Commissioner Christian Kelly?
I'll vote for Commissioner Melendez and O'Brien.
Thank you. Commissioner Melendez?
I'm voting for you too.
I'm sorry, can I just clarify who? For O'Brien Herrera and Christian Kelly?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Gold?
I'll vote for Juan and Commissioner Christian Kelly.
Very good, thank you. And my vote is for Commissioner Melendez and Commissioner Christian Kelly. And so if I have added correctly, I believe that we have Commissioner Melendez and Commissioner Christian Kelly representing us on the community panel. Thank you.
So can we just do a formal motion for that, please?
So I motion to select Commissioner Melendez and Commissioner Christian Kelly to serve on the community panel.
I second.
Can I have a, I'm sorry, I can't motion for that, can I? Can I have a motion for it? I can motion, okay.
Yes.
And I second.
Commissioner Tanner seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay.
Thanks.
So now we are on, now you're nervous. Now we are on to K. This is where we, are there anything that we want to add to future agendas?
This change to the bylaws regarding elections, would it be possible to consider this?
To put on the,
To put it on the agenda for next time? And just a general thing, I mean, have you already put the monthly meetings into our agenda, into bylaws? I'm sorry.
I'm not aware of any bylaws ever having been confirmed. Last I heard, those were still being discussed. Did we actually enact bylaws?
I don't believe so.
So we don't have a bylaws for this commission? Is that what I'm hearing?
No,
Oh, we do.
No,
We do not.
change.
we didn't change anything.
Okay. But we are still meeting every month now.
We are now meeting every
Yeah.
month, which means also that when the election comes around, it's the first meeting after October 1st, which means it will not require we won't have the special meeting problem that we have in November. So the election will happen in October.
Okay,
That's better.
So I don't think you will have
Fine.
That's
that
perfect.
issue arise again.
that's fine.
Perfect.
Okay, good.
Perfect. Thanks, Jack.
Thank you.
That's
Okay.
clarified.
Is there anything else that we'd like added to a future agenda?
Did we go over, this is just me, did we go over how much is in the budget? How much we have in the budget?
We did when we went over the John Parsons.
Okay.
fund earlier.
And that, okay, that's just me missing something. I'll space that.
Did you want to pull anything to look at for next time?
No.
That's on the first page of the report.
Yeah, it's always
The
there.
other is
I
how
just
you
missed-
get there, but the first page, right there is how much is available.
Oh, okay.
At the bottom of of that first chart on the first page. That's not counting some money that will probably be returned from the current project of Sea Chatter. That came in under budget.
Okay.
Very good. Anything else?
Can I ask you, will we be talking about, when we go into K1, about putting what we discussed about the RFQ?
There was some discussion about the possibility of simply doing similar to what Labas is doing, which is to acquire a group of qualified artists interested in pursuing a project on the Esplanade,
right,
and getting essentially a pool of potential candidates. And then if you see some you particularly like doing exactly the same thing, offer some proposal stipends and see if you get some art that you actually want to pursue.
is that something
Get
that,
some, maybe some ideas that had not occurred to anybody yet.
and is that something that we can vote, like to present for next time?
If you want to discuss that, you can make a request to agendize that.
Okay, I make a request to agendize, and so for our next commission meeting, so we can present and have an RFQ for the Esplanade for possibility of future artists, so that we can get that going.
May I suggest that that also come from the subcommittee on there, that you, if you have some language or some ideas or things that you would like, and then if you ask us to craft an RFQ proposal for you.
Yes.
Why don't we make a presentation as the subcommittee to the
that's
commission?
Yes.
And then we can also include that.
But you already have that option to do the presentation. So the presentation first, and then I would agendize a possible RFQ solution to move this along, perhaps into other arts that we may not have considered, or ones that you have considered that get like I said, get a pool of artists.
Yes.
See if we can short circuit the process a little bit.
Yes.
Move it along.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I'm not on the commission for this. I'm not, I wasn't voted on. Well, anyway, I'm wondering, do we still have access, like me? Would I have access to the artists so that I can look at those as we go along as well, or no?
I don't know the answer. I'm not sure there's a reason why not. I would think it's a public record, but I don't know is the answer, but I can get that answer for you.
So is there a login? Each commissioner will be given a login so that?
I don't know.
I think this, we can ask, we'll find out about that.
That's an excellent question,
That's a good
and I
question.
will ask that.
I want to, I think.
So let's go back to, let's
Because we need
stay
to vote that
on.
in.
Are there any other items that we would like posted on the next agenda? Okay. Is there a motion to?
Can we take stuff off?
What would you like to take off?
This project allocation status, this Big Lots thing's been there for a minute. We can take that off.
I can't. These are areas that were approved to do something, and at one time money was assigned and the money was removed. It would be up to the council to remove them as a candidate.
Okay.
So that's the only reason I have not pulled them off, even though I dearly would like to.
Okay.
We don't seem to be targeting those at this time.
No, I just know that we talked about the Big Lots thing, and they said that the owner changed ownership, and there was this whole thing. We've been trying to do that for like 2 years.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to be showing a great deal of interest in the project, and we don't control the property.
Yeah, so they got kind of snotty about it, so I want to, that's all. Anyway.
The city has a strong preference for doing work on land that they control, so that somebody won't come necessarily and paint over. They bought the building, well, we don't like it, we're painting it over.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Jack, I do have one question.
Yes.
Every meeting, I feel like we ask to pull the John Parsons Fund just to look at it. Can we just put that permanently on the agenda, or should it stay where it is?
If you would like to make it a discussion item each time, that's an option.
Okay, I would love to motion to do that, yeah. I think that's just,
That's kind of
that's
what
just
I was
something,
saying.
I think that's
Yeah.
just something we should talk about every time.
That was kind of what I was,
Okay,
I was like, did I miss some of it?
thank you.
And real quick, can you also update the commission for any time it's of importance for us to attend council meetings with anything that's going on possibly that's going to affect, be it, Artesia corridor or anything that would be any relation to us, if possible, just in the future, like if
Well, that's going to be kind of random as to when it occurs, so I'm not sure how we make it a regular thing, but I can certainly maybe make a,
You just might have
maybe
more-
this JPPAF just becomes a liaison report. And if there's the only thing in it is the John Parsons Art Fund, fine. If there's more to add that's of interest, we could add at the same time.
I think what she's saying, when our Artesia plan was sent to the council, we weren't quite sure after our last meeting when it was going to actually be on the city council's agenda. And a lot of us found out like the day of that it was going to the council that day. And we would love to go and be there when those things happen. Is it possible for us to find out in advance when our items have made it to their agenda? Or
Absolutely.
is that just, okay.
No, that'll simply guarantee that I will do.
Okay.
I will send out an email notifying all of you that there is a possible subject of overlap or interest.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank you.
that.
We would love that.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Or to when we do the Parsons budget announcement, whatever, talk about that and be like just to remind us the
repeat it again.
next
Yes.
city council meeting is this, so we can just write it down.
Yeah.
Because I'm a knucklehead and if you say it, I'll write it down.
No, it's going to happen.
Thank you. Okay.
That's a reasonable request.
So now we have a request to put on the agenda the John Parsons Fund for discussion. We have a request to put on the agenda. Do we vote on each one separately, or do we do all of these together as one
I
motion?
think we just call it a liaison report.
Okay.
And it should
And it
should
will-
include the John Parsons Art Fund report.
Okay.
And that way, if there's something you want to discuss, fine. If not, great. Receive and file.
Okay. Thank you. Is there a motion for that?
And then also what about the Esplanade? Or should we,
Would you like to put the Esplanade on?
yeah,
Yeah, you should also see if there's any comment
yeah. Would
and
there-
then make motions and second each of these
So we can
things.
take some public comment.
Is there public comment regarding adding a liaison report to the agenda? Is there online comment?
There are no e-comments and no attendees on Zoom.
Thank you. Can we have a motion to add the liaison report to the agenda?
I'll motion.
Thank you.
Second.
So, motions, Commissioner Christian Kelly seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. The next item was to put the Esplanade on the subcommission
For RFQ.
for the
Put on the-
Esplanade.
On the agenda.
Can we call it just a discussion of the?
A discussion, and then also we're going to have probably a little, like, presentation, not presentation, but
I
picture.
mean, discussion
Yeah,
of the
discussion of,
subcommittee's work on the Esplanade
Esplanade, mhm.
and presentation to the commission.
okay.
So can we, is there any discussion about adding to the next agenda an item regarding the subcommission report for the Esplanade and a possible presentation? Is there any public comment? Is there any e-comment or online?
There are no e-comments and no attendees on Zoom.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Kelly, Christian Kelly for motioning, Commissioner Pizzelle for second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
I'm sorry, I looked away for just a second. Who actually seconded?
Second was.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any reports from active subcommittees?
We have still two. So for the LGBTQIA+, there's really no report because that's gone out, and they're going to do an RFQ with that. So, and also it's been done what we've done. But I know also our Esplanade subcommittee, we've been active in doing some research and hence asking about for the future topic of a possibility for that, putting out an RFQ. And then also we've kind of looked around on the Esplanade, and we have some questions also about some of the bollards that were there that were incompleted, the possibility of hopefully having the artists that originally did those maybe finish those off, and then having possibility of new artists be able to add maybe sculptures to those. There's lots of areas that we've looked at, and in the presentation that we'll have in the following month will be a better visual on the areas that we think has potential for artists. Do you want to add anything?
No, that's perfect.
And I'd like to know a little bit of a history, if possible, if we could get or research about the Esplanade. The Esplanade was a $3 million project that happened in 2010. 2015, it was finished. And in that process, art was established in there too. But I know that there was fundraising for some of that art, and some was taken from the John Parsons. So maybe if there's, and I know there is, and I have some as well, but it'd be nice to kind of have a little bit of some input that, if possible, if I can ask Jack to find out, so we can know the costs of what those art projects are, and then maybe that will help guide us, because there's only $100,000. Only, it's a lot, I know, but it's not a lot when you're going across that Esplanade that was about $3 million to make in the first place. So if, you know.
You're asking for history
history on the
dollar
bollards.
expenditures on previous
Yeah, because there's
artworks.
They said there was artwork that was done, but the only artwork I really notice are the mosaics where the bollards are. So.
I don't have as much knowledge of these as I should.
I should say there's mosaic on the end part too, and there are, but the majority on that Esplanade, that's what I'd like to.
I'd like a little more specification on that when we can, and I am allowed to communicate with subcommittees outside. So we'll talk about exactly which ones you're asking about.
Perfect.
And then I'll see what I can do to get that information for you.
So appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Would you like to add anything to that?
Okay. That's perfect.
Thank you. Do we make a motion to receive and file? Okay. Is there a motion to receive and file the reports from the active subcommittees?
I'll make a motion to
Thank
receive.
you, Commissioner Pizzali. Motions, and do I have a second?
I'll second.
And thank you, Commissioner Christian Kelly, for seconding. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay.
And then you go to.
And now it's time for adjournment. Our next meeting of the Redondo Beach Cultural Arts Commission will be a regular meeting to be held at 7 p.m. on February 25th, 2026 in the Redondo Beach Council Chambers at 419 Diamond Street, Redondo Beach, California. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Commissioner Christian Kelly. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Gold. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 8:42.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Good job, Michelle.
Yeah, that was great.
Nailed it.
Very, very nice.